Hi, everybody. My name is Caroline Svixson, and I'm so excited to welcome all of you today to an amazing, amazing interview I have set up for you with my good friend Bryce Kennedy. And we're going to talk about using the power of feng shui to invite love and fertility into your life. And I'm so, so, so passionate and excited about this topic. And Bryce is a true, true expert. He is actually a lawyer turned feng shui expert, and he focuses specifically on helping women discover their passion and power by reflecting their personal beauty into their space, into their relationships, and into their lives. So this sounds awesome, Bryce, and I'm so happy you're here with us today. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you, thank you. It's great to be here.
Yeah. How are you doing today?
I'm great. It's a
Yeah.
beautiful day today. The gray has lifted.
The gray has lifted. I know. For
Yeah.
those of you who don't know, we're both in New York City and it's January, so we're really lucky when we get a few days of sunshine. Um, anyway, let's get started with my first question for you. How did you get into feng shui and how has it impacted your life? I always like to start off a little bit telling a person's story rather than, jumping right into the sort of expert questions because I think you have a really interesting story to tell as well.
Cool. Yeah. It's kind of a roundabout story, but I'll give you the short and dirty version first. So I am an attorney still, but now focused entirely on feng shui. But when I was working 100 hours a week and eating garbage because food is the only thing I had to look forward to during those weeks. And there started this issue inside my body. I had bleeding ulcers and I couldn't sleep. I had night terrors, all kinds of crazy stuff. And my body just started shutting down. It just was like, no more, I can't do this. And my relationship started just kind of falling apart. And everything was deteriorating. And someone said, you should go see an acupuncturist. And I was like, that's the most ridiculous thing in the world. Why would I do that? And but my fiance, girlfriend back then, she's like, no, you have to go see someone, please.
Yeah.
And so I went, and wouldn't you know, he changed my life. I mean, he opened up my eyes to something that I always had known was there, and something that I dreamed that was there. It was like this inner magic that, you read in books and all this other stuff. And you can only believe it, or at least I could only believe it to a certain point. But the truth is this yearning had always been there ever since a child to believe that I have total control of my life in terms of like making anything happen and walking with this huge vulnerable heart in life and becoming an actor. I went back to acting school while I was a lawyer, actually. And it all opened up, and I became like just hell-bent on this mission to figure out how to live my life where I wasn't under the thumb of someone else, or even my thoughts. Like I wanted, I'm obviously leaving myself open to the world and the beauty and all that stuff, but I didn't want to be controlled anymore by like just external forces. And so that's where I started focusing on meditation and energy work. And I started traveling around the world in the US, learning from different experts. And eventually, the same guy, that Paul, PK Alexander, the acupuncturist, he's like, you got to look into feng shui. This is your niche. And I was like, what? I have to move couches and paint the door red, and there's a corner for prosperity. And he's like, trust me. I was like, well, I do, so I'll go. And so I went to California, and I studied with this incredible woman. And she essentially opened my eyes to feng shui, and she has this brutally awesome certification process where it's this 3-month in-depth process of doing different homes and different spaces and learning this technique, this art the Chinese did about 4,000 years ago. And ever since then, I was like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Wow. Wow, I love that. And, it really, like, I think most people who are in sort of like this field that you're in, for example, like they had to go through some sort of like personal transformation. And it almost sounds like like that kind of like magic that you found is what true confidence is, like that you were really being led from within you rather than from sort of like these external forces and stuff.
Yeah, that's really it, actually. Yeah, it was believing that you can like be magic
Mm-hmm.
and I use the word magic very strongly, actually, because I know there's a lot of word gravity around it, but like it is. If you do, and as a lawyer saying the word magic, I mean anyone could believe in this. So
Yeah.
yeah, it really is being your truest, most vulnerable, beautiful self.
Yeah. Oh, I love the word magic. Like I like get little butterflies every
Yeah,
time I
right.
like
I
just like
know.
I heard you say it and I'm like, oh, magic. That's great. So let's go into like feng shui specifically. Like what is feng shui for like people who are not familiar with it, like for people who like what you just said, like think that you'll paint a door red and move the couch, like that kind of
Yeah,
thing. Like what is feng shui really all about? Like what's kind of like an easy way for us to understand
cool.
what it is?
So, there's a whole different bunch of metaphors, but the best one I have found that I really like is looking at your home. Well, first of all, your home is a direct reflection of your life,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, the best question I always ask people is, what is your home saying about your life? Is it chaotic? Is it messy? Is it cluttery? Is it stale? Is it old? Is it lifeless? Is it happy? Is it booming? Um, and basically, the main goal of feng shui is to get flow moving through the home so you can live at the biggest potential, your biggest self forever. And to me, feng shui is the foundation of all wellness
Mm-hmm.
because it's our space, it's our environment, and we are a reflection of that. We are that. So, what I like to do is think of the home as your body, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if the blood flow was constricted in your body, you could live, you'd be fine. You probably wouldn't feel the greatest, but in a couple of years, there'd be more problems. It's the same with the home. Like when there's flow of the chi, the energy, that vibrancy, yes, you can live. And yes, you can do amazing things. But can you imagine if that flow of energy was at 100%? I mean, most of my clients I've come into, they probably live between 50 to 60% of their capacity
Mm-hmm.
in total energy flow. And then we boost them up, and it's just like, it's a little bit shocking because you're just like, there's nowhere to hide. You're in this totally new, vibrant flow, and
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of the real principle of feng shui
Uh-huh.
is to get that maximized and connected to who you are too.
Yeah. Wow, I love that comparison to the blood flow in the body and everybody. Full disclosure, Bryce actually came over to my apartment and we kind of like did a little walk around and he helped me, I guess feng shui my space a bit more. But like I remember you asking me like, what do you feel when you look at this image, for example, or like this corner? Like what kind of feeling is stored there? And I never thought about my space in that capacity. And it really like when you ask me those questions, I could clearly feel like certain feelings. Like some corners carried a little bit of guilt. Other corners were like like they were kind of like the hidden things that I like didn't actually want, but I was just kind of like keeping them out of guilt, and like so that was the guilty corner. Like so it's interesting how different spaces in my apartment, for example, really did carry different emotions that I unconsciously probably felt every time I walked by, but I was just so used to them. It's kind of like what you were saying again with the blood flow in the body. You just sometimes get used to living with certain aches or
Yeah,
certain hang-ups or whatever.
yeah.
Um,
It's like in certain aches and pains almost too.
yeah,
It's funny. You're like, my shoulder's always been bothering me. It's like, no, it should.
like maybe it shouldn't. Maybe
Yeah,
you
it
could
should
live
feel
without
good.
pain. Yeah, so I love that. I love that analogy. Thank you so much.
Mm.
Um, all right, so let's move on to the actual question, like the really core of like today's topic for using feng shui for specific purposes. Because from my understanding, like you can probably use it for everything and anything, right? And like, but what I really want to give our audience today is specifically focusing on love and fertility, and how can we use feng shui to invite love into our life and to invite fertility into our life. And I don't know if those are related, if they're similar things that people can do or think about, or if you kind of want to break them up into two separate components, and it's up to you.
Yeah. So I think to break it up, it'd be good.
Mm-hmm.
Feng Shui for love is like a magic potion. It's it's one of the coolest things that I've been able to witness is love brought in. And it's because if you can think of your home as your palace, right? And you don't have to be rich. You don't have to have the most expensive furniture or even the biggest place. You know, I do studio apartments and people have grown in amazing ways. But you have to start treating yourself as if you were the ruler of this palace. And pouring your energy into that home, into the space, will just raise the vibration of love. And so what I've noticed with love for a lot of, and since I focus on women, we'll just talk about women, is that especially in the city, New York City, or wherever anyone's watching it, men, those jerks, they tend to get a little bit of the hand in the love department. You know, women tend, like I said, my clients, I'm not generally speaking, but they are looking for love. And so they're like, well, do you think men will like this? And they kind of cater their apartment or even their thinking to bringing a man into their life. And so
Oh, I think we have a little glitch. You're frozen. Are you back?
there we go.
Okay, great, you're back.
Cool. And what I focus on is having the man being permitted to enter the palace. Like it changes the whole dynamic of love for that. Because it's a shame. It's like, no. A man should worship the goddess in you, and worship the goddess in this palace. Like, and so everywhere, what I do, the first thing is I have someone look and I say, who would you like to be if there was this spirit animal, spirit movie star, spirit whatever. I want you to tap into that. And then that's how we're going to presence the energy in this home, like either through new colors, through new bedding, through whatever. And one woman I love, she picked Beyonce, right? She's this tiny little 60-year-old woman. And she's like, I'm Beyonce. I was like, why not? Okay, great. And I came back, there was gold everywhere. Gold. And she was looking for love. Gold. And she goes, the entranceway. Okay, so there's a couple things also to focus. The entranceway to your room, to your bedroom. And the bedroom to me is where like the magic happens. Needs to be clear to bring in love, right? You want to imagine, again, it's like a palace, and as you enter that room, that space, you don't want clutter there. You don't want pictures of single women. You want it to be this vibrancy, either an organic life, have plants there or stones, and we can talk about that later, but like rose quartz is always good, citrine. These are great things to have at the entrance of your bedroom. And then when you walk in, you want it to like boom, you just want it to explode with this energy of femininity, right? So the man, again, is just welcome there. He's lucky to be there. Yeah. And so I think that's a real key factor for the viewers out there looking at your apartment, looking at your home or your space. Am I the goddess in this home?
Like truly own it and take power over it and make your surrounding like a full expression of yourself and your femininity, like you said, versus almost thinking, how am I going to lure somebody in? How am I going to make somebody like who I am? Because it's almost assuming that they're not going to like you unless you pretend like you're somewhat different,
it's unreal. This man or woman that you're bringing in, it's just like, can you imagine having you starting from a vantage point of them being lucky to have you? Changes everything.
Yeah,
So,
totally. I love it. Okay, so the practical action steps for this specific one is rose quartz, you said?
Rose quartz, citrine. I also, if we're changing the energy, buy fresh flowers every week.
Okay.
Put them in your room, and so that's the first thing that you wake up to every day, is these bouquet of, it could just be a couple roses, whatever. It starts changing the mind very slowly to being like, wow, I'm allowed to have these flowers
Uh-oh. I think we're stuck again. Let's see if we're going to come back.
Okay, we're back.
Okay, good. Sorry about
And also, I would look at the bedding.
that.
I'm always big on bedding and paint in the room. So having a bedspread or some kind of linen that pops out to really show your femininity is a great way to start changing the vibration that you're putting out there. And same with the paint in the room.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Are there certain colors that are more like inviting of love than others, or should it just kind of like for that woman that you were describing who wanted to be like Beyonce, she picked maybe gold bedding. I don't know, you know.
She did. Oh, it was an entire sea of gold. It was great. And she painted her walls blue sparkly. Blue sparkly.
Wow.
This is an attorney, right? The most
I love
just
it.
straight laced woman ever. And she's like, "This is who I am." And I was like, "Yeah, damn right you are." It was beautiful.
So cool.
So, just yeah, I err on the side of letting you. I want people to pick what really calls to them.
Okay.
And here's a good way to know if you're going outside your comfort zone and you're doing it right is if you start having doubts of what other people will think.
Uh-huh.
The minute that starts popping in your mind, you have to be like, then I have to do this.
Uh-huh.
The minute you say, well, what if there's visitors? No, screw that.
Uh-huh.
This is your palace.
So doubts rather than like almost the reins. Like I think sometimes we take doubt and it's like the rein, right? It's like pulling us back and saying no. Like doubt is actually the check mark in this case.
Oh, it's great. Everyone that texts me, they're like, "Oh, I'm having doubts." I'm like, "Perfect. You're doing the right thing."
All right, awesome. I love that. Great.
Oh, and fertility.
Fertility is the other one I want to talk about. Yeah.
So for fertility, this is one of my favorite things to do is create the room. I caution people on getting a crib in there already.
Mm-hmm.
To me, what I found, again, it's just my experience. It messes with people's heads. It's like, and it's kind of creepy sometimes to have this empty crib there when you're trying to get pregnant. Again, just my experience. Some women love it, so I'm not going to poo-poo it totally. But what I love is creating this room almost as if you were welcoming an angelic presence, which you are, a baby. And so I try to make it as soft as possible. I love these white fur rugs. Mm-hmm. You have, right?
Yeah.
The same thing. And
we do.
My sister has the same thing. And to me, white fur, they're really. Is it sheepskin?
Ours are sheepskin. Yeah.
Sheepskin, yeah. White sheepskin, we'll say. You don't have to get white sheepskin. But anyway, it's just like right off the bat, you feel it, and it just nurtures you, and it doesn't bring this lack of being able to produce.
Yeah.
Instead,
it's not an empty crib. It's like something that's like lush, you know, and
it's something you can enjoy. Mm-hmm. And so I also have people bring in flowers there, flowers that. Again, it's almost this welcoming, warm area. Mm-hmm. Another great thing for this is neutral paints, but warm neutral paints to bring in. I have a lot of, if there's any furniture in there that you're holding on until the baby comes, get it out. Mm-hmm. You know, just make this room as a landing pad, if you will, like a temple space for this presence that is going to come.
Mm-hmm. Wow, I'm almost getting like the image of a womb. You know, it's like warm colors. You said it's like, you know, like it's soft, like it's almost like a space where you're inviting in like the spirit of your baby.
Fur coats in her room, and they were from her grandma. And are we good?
Yeah,
okay.
I think
they were from her grandma, and she didn't get along with her grandma that well. And this was going to be the baby's room. And it was funny. She had been trying to get pregnant. We started working together, and she was going to find out if she was in fact pregnant the next day. Mm-hmm. And she calls me at 10 o'clock at night, and she goes, "I still haven't gotten rid of the furs." And I'm like, "What are you doing? You get rid of the furs right now. This is the entry space." She drives out to her friends, gets rid of them, out of the house. Wouldn't you know, the next day she finds out she's pregnant. Aww. And it's just like, there's this great saying, it's very short. Will is always matched. Willpower is always matched. It's matched by a force on the other side that is just like, so the more you give to this space, more nurturing, the more you're helped. At least that's what I found.
Yeah. Wow, I love that. And I think the word nurturing actually describes both like the things that you talked about with love and with fertility, like in terms of like the flowers, for example, like ultimately, like rather than nurturing love as in the other person or nurturing fertility as in like already the baby, like it's really about nurturing yourself and your own life to allow these energies to come in
Right.
versus trying to like go out and grab them, or like or like making the lack thereof really
Yeah.
strongly represented in your home.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that. The best way to do also for the womb space of
Mm-hmm.
this of the room is to I love having people meditate in there.
Mm-hmm.
Because in meditation, it's a chance for us to just have our energy spread and kind of weave into the fabric of the room. So
Uh-huh.
can you imagine anything more? And again, it's not meditation on trying to bring a baby in, and there are great meditations like that. Uh, but again, and yeah, if you do that, that's great. But like, and those are some powerful meditations too.
Yeah.
But anyway, I digress. But when you do that, see the energy spreading into the room, have it
Yeah.
weave into the ceiling, into the floors, create this womb of just total love. And again, it's just like you said, it's not grasping. It's not like, oh, I have a feeling of this, oh, I have a feeling of that. It's just, no, I'm enjoying the room and purely pouring love in
Yeah.
for no result other than that, just love.
Yeah. Because nothing is more magnetic than that too, right? And like that's like both again with love and fertility, like that's kind of what we want to create is this like magnetism that like allows the right thing
Yeah.
to come in.
It's pretty amazing when it's done just purely from the heart. No agenda. No, it's just
Oh, it's so beautiful. Well, I already have love in my life, so I can't, well, I could still amp that love up, but for sure when I'm ready to have another baby, I'm totally going to do this room feng shui
yeah.
stuff
And
that you're
if
talking
you can,
about.
I would get celestite. It's a
What
great
is celestite?
celestite is one of the highest vibrational crystals for angelic presences,
Oh,
and it's so beautiful. It's this light blue uh, in a rock, and they're normally just these points that you hold it and you feel something. It's just
uh-huh.
so that's just another bonus of adding and rose quartz. I can't stress good rose quartz enough.
Enough. Awesome. I love it. And that's good to know too, because I've heard so much about the power of crystals, but it's overwhelming when you don't know, anything about them really, because there's so many different kinds and so many different types. So those are really the two that people looking for love and fertility should really focus on is number one, rose quartz, and then number two was
Celestite.
celestite. Okay.
And hold it in your left hand. It's the hand of the heart.
Uh-huh.
And just tell the crystal what you want from it. It's good
Uh-huh.
to charge it, just to kind of give it a mission.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Great. Awesome. Well, Bryce, if people want to get a hold of you or if they want to learn more about you, how can they find you? Tell us a little bit about that.
Cool. My website is boomfengshui.com, FENGSHUI.
And it'll be underneath the video too, so everybody
Oh,
can
cool.
can
That's
find it
great.
there too.
And or email me at bryce@boomfengshui. Yeah, and I, yeah, you can email me directly. I'd love to talk to people too. Like it's just so much fun. So I think what we do with anyone, client or no client, is just ask the questions. It's a
Yeah.
scary, crazy world with so much different information. Just feel free to email me, even the most inane question if you think it is. It's not, because they'll be powerful. The fact that you even have questions is big. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
Cool. And you also work with people on Skype. So it's not just people who are in New York City where you can actually go to the physical location, but it can really be women from all over the
Oh,
world, right?
oh yeah. It's amazing how great the energy can transfer with a Skype call. I mean, I haven't found anything much different, and especially with this. it's just once we connect, it's on.
Yeah.
It's game on. Yeah, it's a beautiful space.
Awesome. Cool. All right, everybody, if you're interested in anything feng shui, I totally highly recommend Bryce. I've had such a great experience working with you myself. It really has changed the
Oh,
way
thank
I
you.
see my space, and I've done some physical changes and I've seen the results pour in from that. And so
Yeah,
thank you for that. I'm forever grateful.
you're welcome. Yeah, thanks
All
for
right,
having me.
everybody, thanks so much.
I'll see you guys.
Bye.